like you obviously are earning no money. You get invited over to America. What's the thought process when you're like, oh, I guess I'll stay a little bit longer? Because we were joking off air, which I should have recorded, was, I think most people are winging it and think other people maybe have it all figured out, but we're all just winging it at certain levels.
Yeah, that is true, and you never really know. I learned that a while ago, and it's such a good phrase, the winging it thing, because I think everybody in the industry is, especially now, and you often feel like you're the only one, but I think everybody is. Not just the sponsored riders. I think even the sponsors are winging it, and the media are winging it, and the promoters are winging it even more often. So, but but no, it's initially Kevin, like he wanted to hook me up right away with like a bike company, and he was sponsored at the time by Haro, and so he figured, hey, it would be so cool if GT also had a trials bike, and a few other mountain bike brands had already a trials bike, and he really wanted the sport to grow, and so he introduced me to them. He introduced me to the Laguna Rats, one of the oldest mountain bike club in the world, that who taught me to be a real mountain biker. But one of those days, after like I was only 2 weeks in America, he got a phone call and he said, "Hey, it's Swatch on the phone. They want us to be in New York this afternoon." We were in Los Angeles. Apparently, tickets are at the airport, so we packed the bikes, drive to LAX, fly to New York, and this famous advertisement of me jumping over a taxi cab on Broadway, and we started talking to the Swatch people. And Swatch were the original supporter, mainstream company that supported extreme sports way before Red Bull. They actually, Red Bull copied Swatch when they first started out, and then of course later they took it to a whole different level. And but Swatch at the time, besides the watches, they did also clothing. And when we did the photo shoot, I said, "Hey, if you want, I can wear your clothing." And this was like sweatpants and loose cut stuff, not lycra stuff. So it was kind of already streetwear before streetwear even hit BMX freestyle. And I said, if you want to sponsor me, like I can wear your stuff for $500 a month or so. And then like they sent me a contract a few weeks later, and it was $1,000 a month. And that's something that never ever happened to me again in my career, that somebody gave me twice as much than I asked for. But Swatch also had these ideas of sending me all over the country to these shopping malls and doing shows together with skateboarders. I would tour with Rodney Mullen and with Ross Cobb and with all these people.
And
And
that
but
was
mainly with,
Swatch's idea. Like they
yeah, they
kind of
did.
said, we're doing this anyway in action sports, like join them.
Well, they did a PR tour to go to all the shopping malls and do a promotion there in the parking lot in front of a Macy's or a department store with us. And sometimes they had a little fashion show etched on, and Rodney, and they had the local kids would all come out with their skateboards. And I was like, wow, this is kind of cool. This could be a good way for me to not only see America, learn the language, but I was about to study marketing in Europe. I started to go to the university. I took one semester, took a vacation semester, and never went back. But the way I made me feel comfortable with it, I asked Swatch if I could do an internship while I come back to America. And they had no idea what I was talking about, but they said, yeah, yeah, you can do that. So that gave me the confidence to leave my school behind and come back to America. And then they had a lot of work for me. And I also, in the meantime, I signed with GT up. That was 36 years ago, and I'm still with them to this day. And the Swatch sponsorship lasted also almost 20 years. And yeah, and then a few years later, this was all in 87, 88. And then in the early 90s, the mountain bike boom really kicked in. And that's when the golden years of mountain biking started. And we had all these factory teams and big events, and stuff got televised, and big sponsors came into the sport. And but that was a few years later.